Welcome to the Living Path Podcast, episode 14. Thank you for being here. It's been just over a month since I podcasted last, and as usual, I hadn't planned that. But, life. So, it's my answer every time, but you know how it goes. So, if you're new, thank you for checking me out. This is a podcast primarily about knitting and dyeing yarn. Sometimes I'll break into some simple living, kind of weaved in through other things that I'm doing, and a little bit of homeschooling. Not really, but sometimes, because that's what I do, so I might talk about it or at least reference it, and really just me being as true to myself as I can. So welcome, and if you're returning, thanks for coming back. I know I keep leaving you guys hanging every now and then. Things just come up, and what I realized today is it's because it takes me a really long time to get set up to podcast. So it's Saturday, October 27th. My husband's home. My son is at rehearsal. Actually, he had a play date this morning with a friend. Play date, whatever. He was over there hanging out. And then they took him to rehearsal because they're in the same show together. And so I've had all this time. So I got myself ready and was setting up and having a bit of a stress panic attack because everything wasn't going the way I wanted it to. My husband's here and he just smooths things over like he does. And it just takes me so long, and I think that's why I don't come as often as I'd like, because I just really dread the setup. So we're going to work on that. We're going to work on trying to find some ways that make it less stressful for me, so my whole house and table aren't consumed by podcast stuff for like 2 hours before and 2 hours after, and I can just kind of pop everything up and do it and get it done. We'll see. But yes, so it's been a month, and I think last time I spoke to you, we were expecting friends from England. They came and went. We went to Niagara Falls. We had such a lovely time. I'll try and put in some pictures. Isaac had never been. I hadn't been since I think I was 19, and Fred hadn't been since he was a kid. So we went and we did the touristy things, which was a lot of fun. We did the tour behind the falls, and we took the boat. It's not called the Maid of the Mist on our side. It's called Hornblower Cruise, I think. It was so much fun. We went right out into the middle of the falls. So Horseshoe Falls comes from both sides, and we went right in and then turned around, and as it turned around, you got sprayed with mist pretty hard. But it was a lot of fun. And we went on a Tuesday, so it wasn't busy. And we had stopped for food on the way home. We just went down that day and came back that night. It was a great time. And then the next day we walked into the village with our friends, had lunch, and then they left, went back to Toronto and spent a couple days there, and then flew home. They were only here for 8 days in Canada, but they had a nice time, and it was nice to spend some time with them. And then I've been prepping Advent for our Ode to Musical Theatre Advent calendar, which was supposed to all mail out yesterday. I've got the international ones mailed out. International meaning not North America, but so much work. So much work. So if you're in the United States, yours will go out this coming week. And if you're in Canada, probably this week too, but near the end of the week. And if you're local in London, Ontario, you get to pick yours up as soon as they're ready, which will probably just be after that, because you can just pop by, and even November 30th you could pop by, but they'll be ready long before then. I spent a week in New York at Rhinebeck, right? So I'm a smidge behind. Speaking of Rhinebeck, this whole podcast is mostly going to be about Rhinebeck, but maybe a little bit about other things too. We'll see. It was so much fun. Okay, but I don't want to get ahead of myself. Still introductions. Hello. What else is new? Isaac's got his show. Right now he's in a show called Rockin' Robin Hood, and he's, I think I told you, an orphan. He's having so much fun. It opens Friday night, so 6 days from tonight, a week last night. And it's coming along. They're really quite ahead of where they often are at this time of the year. Normally they're still ironing out the kinks, but they've run the show a few times, and he says it's going really great. So that's awesome. What else? I think that's really all that's new as far as like life stuff. Let's get into things because I feel like this is going to be a long episode. you know, I got my whole trip to whole trip to talk about. So yeah, we'll just dive right in. Okay. I have a finished object, people. I have a finished object. It's my Tecumseh sweater. Now, I call this Tecumseh because here in Canada, at least where I live, we say Tecumseh. And watching all the podcasts and all the Chrissy Glasses tell me about your Rhinebeck sweater and everyone saying Tecumseh, I was like, every time they'd say it, it would make me like, oh, why are you saying that? Because I guess that's what you say there in the States. But at least where I live, because there's a town just outside of Windsor, which is 2 hours from me, called Tecumseh, Ontario. And there's a school 3 blocks from me called Tecumseh Public School. We say Tecumseh. So I'm trying to say Tecumseh so that I fit in with the Tecumseh wears, but it feels very strange to me. So if I say Tecumseh, that's why. It's Tecumseh to me. Anyway, it's done, and I absolutely love it. I shortened the sleeves. Oh, I did a few modifications. Okay, first of all, Caitlin Hunter, Boyland Knitworks. Oh my god, this was a lot of fun to knit. A lot of fun, and a lot of really paying attention to the color work. It was pretty intuitive, like once you got going. But, you know, it's just slows you down, as color work always does. And it's not just a yoked sweater, it's the whole body. So it took me, I think, just under 2 months to knit this. And I wasn't knitting daily or faithfully. Well, I was knitting faithfully, but I wasn't knitting daily because I just had other things going on. Lots of dyeing and yarn shows to prep for, and different kinds of things. So I didn't get as much time to just sit and knit as I would like. But that's not too bad, 2 months for the amount that I knit. Oh, it's so soft. So this is my Griffin base, which is 100% untreated, well, hello, blow out there, BFL. And the main color is Ballerina, and I don't have the other 2 colors handy. But the green is Laurel, and the burgundy is Blood Moon. Now, I love this. However, upon wearing it, I'm not so sure I love this pinky color on my skin. In the skein, I liked it. In the sweater with that green next to it, the green brings out the peachy to undertones of that color. I don't think that suits me so much. So, I'm still gonna wear it because I love it. But that was a bit of a revelation. I was like, oh, I don't know what it is about that. That's not making... So when I wear this, I feel good, right? Like I like those colors on me. But then I put this on and I'm like, oh, I don't really washes me out. Oh well, I'm gonna wear it anyway. So a couple modifications. I separated the sleeves just under the crosses of the second round of color work, because otherwise, I think I told you this last time, the color work would be starting, or sorry, the sleeves would be separating down here. And so for me, I can stand up and show you. For me, that would have been like down here, which is more than a hand, like a finger span, whatever this is called, lower than where it is now. And I couldn't do that. I really needed it to be functional and be able to move, because this one already is a bit lower. Oh, I'm wearing my spine, people. I'm so excited. Anyway, I'll talk about that in a sec. I really wanted it to be functional and wearable, so I just switched it up. And then upon researching it a bit, I noticed a lot of people did that. So I think it was a smart move on my part, since I wasn't alone in doing that. I think a lot of people just, if you knit the Swancho as well, Caitlin Hunter's Swancho, it also started low. I mean, you don't need that many sweaters that have such a deep yoke and are Swancho-like. So this was great. I switched it and I love that. And then I also shortened the sleeves. Not really because I wanted a short sleeve, although I do love a short sleeve sweater, and I think I'm going to keep it like that. But mostly because I wasn't going to have the arms done in time for Rhinebeck. So I thought, you know what, I'll just shorten them. And I got so many compliments on it at Rhinebeck. A lot of people stopped me and said that they really liked that I shortened the sleeves, and what a great idea that was. And yeah, it really worked really well with a nice long shirt underneath, and it just made me feel not too, like, you know, not too hot. I think I would have been quite hot with it long sleeves. As it was, I was quite comfortable. I don't know what else I want to tell you about this. I love it. I also shortened it a little bit, just a wee bit, which might be problematic in the sense that where it sits on me, you can't really see. Well, anyway, where it sits on me is kind of just the top of the widest part of my hips. My hips aren't very wide. I'm kind of just like this a little bit, but I think it kind of chops my body in half. And as a friend pointed out, I kind of don't have a figure underneath the sweater. I'm just kind of like a blob. So I'm not so sure it's super flattering where I stopped it. I might lengthen it a little bit. I don't know, we'll see. I mean, it's just a sweater to wear, right? I don't need, it's not a fashion statement in the same way that maybe it is for some people. I just want to wear it, but I also don't want to look frumpy. And I feel like maybe I do. So, you know, a few disappointments in terms of how it looks on me color-wise and where it sits, but that's something, the positioning of where it sits I can fix. The color I can't, but I'm not going to worry about it too much. I still really like it. I love those colors together, and I will still wear it. I've worn it like a million times. It's already pilling in certain spots. But yeah, other than that, I think it's fabulous, and I might need another one in a long sleeve. I don't know, we'll see. It's such a great pattern. So, I don't know, I'm pretty happy. And happy to have it off the needles, and that's the other thing, I don't necessarily want to put it back on the needles to finish the sleeve, so I think I might just leave it as is. And I've got lots of other long sleeve sweaters that are in my queue, so I don't need this one to be long sleeve. And I wear a lot of, I call them vests, but they're really short sleeve sweaters. In the winter, I like to layer a lot, and I love that look of a t-shirt coming out, or a long sleeve shirt coming out underneath your sweater, and contrasting colors or coordinating colors, whatever you like to do. I love to do that. So I think I'm happy with it in a short sleeve, and I'm gonna make it work for me, because I'm not knit another one, I don't think. But if you haven't knit the Tecumseh, I would. It's so much fun, and a million variations of colors that you can do, right? Like, we saw so many beautiful ones at Rhinebeck, like just, and it was funny because everyone would come up to me and say, I love your sweater, and I love your sweater, and we're both wearing the same sweater but different colors, and oh, it was a blast. And they did do a Tecumseh tango line. Christy Glass had a Tecumseh tango line. I did not partake in that because I don't know, I didn't know where it was when I was wandering around shopping, and we really were trying to see as much as we could. So anyway, I'll get to that. So finished object, Tecumseh, Caitlin Hunter. Knit one if you haven't. It's fabulous. Okay, and then I'm wearing my Spike finished. I know you've seen this, but you haven't. Have you seen it on? Did I put it on? I may have. I love it. So this one sits here, whereas the Tecumseh sits a bit lower. I can't get any, I'm short people, I can't get any higher. It sits kind of just right there, and it just kind of cuts me off. Anyway, this I absolutely love so much. It's just everything. So I won't dwell on, because I've talked about it enough, and you've seen 1,000 of them, and I'm so happy with it. I'm so happy with it. Okay, sorry, I'm really happy to be here, but I feel like there's a million things for me to talk about, and I've got notes, but my mind's still kind of racing. Take a deep breath. Maybe I'll have a piece of my chocolate. My husband just gave me this. He was gifted a whole bunch of chocolate from our friends in England, and he was gifted this gift collection of Green and Blacks, which is one of my favorite chocolates, and this one is milk chocolate with butterscotch. So he gave me half of he said, would you like a square of chocolate? And then he showed it to me, the squares are like super tiny. So he gave me 4 squares. He must have eaten the other 8 by himself. Rude. And then he gave me the other whole bar, because he's like, I can't taste the butterscotch. I can. Little butterscotch crunchy bits. So good. I love it. So that's my only finished object. I do have some whips to show you. I'm going to plow through because I really want to talk about Rhinebeck. And I don't want to bore you with a 2-hour podcast. Going to Rhinebeck, I needed to take a project. I think that's what I spent most of my time doing, is what project will I take? Because I still wasn't done the sleeves of my Tecumseh when we went. So I was working on that. I was done. I just needed to do the ribbing. But like, you don't get a lot of time. We had lots of time in the airport and stuff like that, but not a lot of time. I guess I had to do both sleeves, like both ribbing parts. Anyway, I wanted something super easy that once that was done, I didn't have to think about. So instead of finding a new pattern that I had to like learn and decide if I liked and do I have the yarn, I just decided to do a boneyard shawl. It's my 3rd one, but I love them. I wanted something heavier, but I didn't have enough heavier yarn in the same colorway. So I decided just to do a fingering weight one. And I really wanted to knit up this colorway, which is Wild Child. So that's what I did. I took it in my Stardust base, which is my gold stellina, 84% superwash merino, 16% gold stellina. So pretty. You can see the sparkle or not. And it's knitting up so great. Just love it. So I'm just plugging along with that. Usually I knit a couple rows at night when we're watching some TV or something. Or I take it with me when we're going out because I don't have to think about it. As long as I remember that where to increase and to do my purl row every 12 rows or whatever it is. I don't know if you can see that. See the little ridges? Yeah, so you've got just stockinette and then a purl ridge bump row every 12 or so stitches. Rows. Anyway, it's great. I love it. So I'm just working on that. That's just a small little plug along kind of project. And I'm not too worried about when that will get finished. It's kind of like what people do for socks, and they just have a sock on the go all the time. And I tend to have a shawl or something. Although not usually. Sometimes I just have a sweater always, and I just take the big bulking sweater with me. But I'm learning to maybe not do that, because sometimes it's a pain in the butt. And you just want to have something that is easy, and you don't have to think. Otherwise, I end up being out, and I don't knit as much as I'd like to. Chocolate? So good. And then, I feel like I should wait and show you this in a minute, but I'll show you a bit now. I haven't technically started this. I'm swatching, which is amazing because I never swatch. Ever. I know, I'm not knitter. Oh my god, I just can't be bothered. I really would rather knit, and then if it's wrong, I tear it out and do it again. Because for me, that my brain thinks that that's less work than spending time swatching. And then it's wrong, then you gotta swatch again. Then it's wrong, I swatch again. I'm like, I'll just knit. I don't care. It's weird, eh? But anyway. So I'm swatching in the round. And this gorgeous red, it's a bit brighter on the screen probably because of the light. But it's a little bit more, like more of blue red. It looks on the screen like it's maybe coming across as a orange red. Oh my god, it's so nice. And I'm making The Weekender by Andrea Mowry. So I did just start to knit because that's what I do. This is the small and this is the front of the small. Oh my goodness. That's like massive. So I know it's a big sweater. I think it's 10 inches of positive ease. But that looks like it's going to be more than 10 inches of positive ease. And my friend was like, that's just the front? Oh yeah, it doesn't wrap around. If it wrapped around me, why then I just pulled some off. That's okay. It's fine. But it's a big sweater. So I'm going to leave that like that. So this is just the small, the front of the sweater. I don't know how much that's going to pull in. Because this is on 5mm, and then you go up to a 5.5 to knit the body. I think it's going to be really, really big, like bigger than I'm comfortable with. If you watched last year, you may remember that I made the flax sweater by Tin Can Knits. I don't think that's handy. I thought maybe it was. Anyway, because I was wearing it earlier. I made that in a medium, which is quite big on me, but this is bigger than that. And this is bigger than the Tecumseh. So I think I need to, so I started to swatch. I'm like, I'm going to swatch and see what happens. Where'd that swatch go? Oh, here it is. And so far, this is just a smidge on the small side. Like, but if I go, so I think it's 1 stitch extra per 4 inches. But if I go up to 5.5, it's going to be at least an inch. You know what I'm saying? And then like, yeah, an inch less in your 4 inches, which will make it bigger. And I don't want that. I certainly don't want it bigger. So I'm going to stick with the 5 mil as my largest size. So then you cast on your tubular cast on in a 4, and then do the ribbing at 4.5 and knit the body in a 5. That's what I think I'm going to do. I haven't blocked it yet, but I still think it'll be all right. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. So I'm really excited to start that. The yarn, I'll tell you about the yarn. I'm all over the place. The yarn is Bartlett Yarns, and I got it at Rhinebeck. So I'll tell you about that when I get to my acquisitions, which will be at the end today because I'm saving it all up. But it's really, really nice and rustic. It's 100% wool, 2-ply. Knits up like an Aran weight, so it's pretty heavy. It's really, really nice. I'm excited. So I want to finish that swatch so I can wash it and block it and see how that goes. And I'm holding that, keeping that in my Delphina bag. And we did a lovely swap at the Fiber Spirit and Berry back in, goodness, that was August. Delphine is Sophie Deschamps, if you don't know, and she's got a great little shop with lots of cute little bags, and I love, love, love those raccoons. They want to blow out. So sweet. So those are my works in progress. And I also have those socks I was working on, but I haven't got very far. So, you know, there's nothing really to show you. I don't even know if I was this far the last time I podcasted. I think I've got a bit further. And the yarn is Yarn Indulgences and their MCN base. Those are just kind of sitting on the back burner until I get some other things done. The yarn's a bit of a mess. It was a ball, but a very loose ball. I think it was a center pole cake that my friend gave me. And then the cake kind of just went, and it fell. Like, you know what a cake does when you're baking? If the cake doesn't rise properly and it falls, that's what I'm saying. It fell. It just, and now it's a little embarrassing to show you that yarn vomit on the air here, but that's just life. So it's just living in there until I have the patience to go through and deal with that. And I have Christmas knitting coming on. I have to make Isaac his solstice sweater. Really, I'm supposed to start a cowl for my mom. Yeah, a million little things that I have to do. And so a pair of socks can wait for a little bit. They'll be there. Yarn doesn't go bad. Okay, so normally now I would do acquisitions. It's too good not to, I'm so sorry. But I'm gonna leave that till the end so I can go through this massive mound right here all at once instead of, if you don't want to listen to acquisitions, you don't have to, right? You can just leave after the show and tell is kind of done, like the main part of the podcast, and if you want to stick around for Rhinebeck, you can. So I'm going to move on to the cowl. Hashtag Drawer of Sweaters Cowl 2018. We have a winner for the 3rd quarter, and I'm so excited. 4th quarter thread is up. There's been a few entries in there, and so if you are new, check that out on Ravelry in the group, the Loving Path under the groups tab. We this whole year have done a knit along for sweaters. So you knit yourself sweaters and then you enter them and you can win a prize. And the idea behind this was just to really get people interested in knitting garments for themselves. I know there is like a drawer of socks, I think, or box of socks, maybe it is. I don't knit very many socks, so I don't really follow that, but I know a lot of people do. And so it was about, you know, making more handmade socks for yourself. And this was about sweaters, because that's what I love to knit. And I think it was about encouraging people to take that next step if you aren't a garment knitter. And garments are really just the next step. It's not any harder than socks. You can read a pattern of socks, you can read a pattern for a sweater. It's just more yarn and more time invested, but you can do it. So I really want to encourage people to knit themselves sweaters. And so we had a first quarter, second quarter prize. Third quarter was the end of September. I drew a name, and now here I am to announce it. And the winner of that is Tara on a Branch on Ravelry, and on a Branch Knits on Instagram. I think that's your Instagram name, Tara. Yeah, I thought so. I'm so excited. So, Tara made a beautiful, and I didn't write down, of course, because that's me. She made a beautiful, beautiful sweater. If you go to the thread, you'll see it. It's Isabel Kramer, I think. I'll write down, I'll write it in what it is, what she made. It's just beautiful, this beautiful, vibrant blue that she used. And she's entered a few times, and so I'm so thrilled she won. So Tara, I know you're watching, because you do, and I'm going to show you what you won. So because it's getting cooler, and the weather's turning, I thought it would be really fun to gift you a toque kit. Comes with a pom-pom, a little full firm pom-pom, and the color is Moonlight Picnic. It's a beautiful silvery gray with lots of little different colored speckles, and this awesome poppy bright pink pom-pom. I think that will look great on you. It's 100% superwash merino, 200 yards. So that's one part of your gift. The second part of your gift, which I hope you will appreciate, is tea season on my BFL base, Everest. So I know that Tara had her eye on this actually, and had purchased a skein at one point, and then had to relinquish it for reasons that I won't get into. She didn't have to, but she did, and so I made a choice to pick this specifically when I found out she won, so she could have it again. So this is tea season on Everest, which is 80% BFL, 20% nylon. So Tara, that's coming your way, and we're not done. I'm sending you this lovely little progress keeper. Oh gosh, hi. Which is, that's making the color go horrible. A little tree, really pretty, from My Needle Crafts. Gosh, where are we gonna put that so that doesn't blow right out there? And also, I love this, and I want to keep it for me. But again, I know that you will love this. Knit Nerd enamel pin from Howling Hill Studio. Meh. Well, I can't make it focus if it doesn't want to. So cute. So cute. So Tara, that's coming to you. I'll be in touch to get all your information. And congratulations! How exciting! So much fun when I get to mail things out to people. My goodness, Light, why you gotta be like that? So that's so much fun. And so there's one quarter left, which is the fourth quarter, and that will be drawn on December 31st. Yep, that's the last day of the year, 2018 at midnight. Well, it won't be drawn at midnight, but the thread will close at midnight. So you have until the very end of the year. If you're knitting sweaters, please, please, please enter them in the thread. Hashtag your sweaters online. Let me see them. I try to follow along. Sometimes it's a little while before I do, but I try to follow along and like them and comment. So let's spread the love for a drawer full of sweaters and get some garments knit up for ourselves by the end of the year, or friends or loved ones, just not children's sweaters. So if you're knitting an extra small, that's fine, but if it actually is a child size, like a size 2 or 4 or 6 or 8 or whatever, then it's pretty small. And I think just to be fair to everyone, make sure that we're all, I mean, some people are knocking out sweaters like there's no tomorrow. You know, you might be a fast knitter and you can knit 5 sweaters in the time it takes someone to knit 1. But if they're all adult size sweaters, and it evens the playing ground versus someone knitting 5 kids sweaters and someone knitting 1 adult sweater, To me, I feel like that's only fair. Cardigans are welcome. Yeah, anything that's got sleeves, even if they're short, I don't mind. Like this would be fine. If you wanted to enter a short sleeve, I don't mind that so much because it's still a pretty big sweater. A lot of knitting on that body. Then that's fine. All the information is over there on the Ravelry group. Again, that's the Loving Path. Under the groups tab, you can find it there. There's also an introduction thread. So if you haven't introduced yourself, say hi there so I can get to know you. I did think about putting up a Q&A thread. I don't know if anybody wants to know anything about me, if you have anything to ask. I kind of share everything that there is to share, but maybe I'll do that. And if you want to ask something specific within reason, I will answer. That would be fun. So again, congratulations, Tara, and those will be coming to you very shortly. What else? I've got 2 more shows coming up locally. So if you are in London, Ontario, or the surrounding area, I will be at the Merrymakers Fair at the Covent Garden Market, downtown London, on November 11th, 11 till 4, and December 16th, 11 till 4. Both of those are Sundays. Come say hi. I'll have lots of stuff. The Merrymakers Fair is a lovely curated group of local artisans. Everything's handmade. And it's just so much fun to be part of and to be surrounded with other makers that are in my area and to meet people and like-minded people come by. Great for Christmas shopping if you are local and you need some handmade ideas. There's so much to choose from. Everything from yarn to screen printed shirts and sweatshirts and handmade things like that. Who else will be there? Cards, handmade cards, hand printed, upcycled beautiful leather bags, other fiber arts, weaving. Treetown Arts will be there with her weavings. I don't know everybody who's going to be there. Handmade body care products. I think there's somebody there with bags and pouches and things like that that are from fabric. Really nice stuff. So anyway, I mean, there's lots of different people who will be there. I don't have all the vendors in front of me. I'm not even sure if they've been released yet, but I can share that maybe in the notes below when I get that information. But if you're there, come say hi. Grab some yarn if you're interested in knitting, because it's the last time you'll probably see me. Well, it is the last time you'll see me in person before the holidays, because after that, it's Christmas, and then of course, it's the New Year. That was a silly thing to say. But yeah, okay, enough of that. Super exciting. Okay, so that ends the nitty portion of the show, kind of. The show, it's not a show. I'm a show. It's a comedy right here, people. It ends this portion of the podcast. I just want to kind of fly through that stuff so I could get to Rhinebeck, because I know you're all dying to hear. Maybe not. Maybe that's just me dying to share. Oh my god, it was so fun. Okay. So, my friend Christine and I left Wednesday morning on the 17th, and we were up at 4 in the morning. Barely slept the night before, as you really don't right before you have to fly. I never do. Anything that's happening the next day, if I know it's a big deal and I need a good night's sleep, I don't get one, ever. So anyway, we picked her up at 4:30. We're at the airport for just before 5. Our flight had been delayed till 6:30 or 6:40. It's supposed to be 6:10. I think it was delayed to 6:40 or something like that. And anyway, so we got there. We went through check-in, security, all that stuff. Got our tea, sat down, had time to knit a little bit, and then we got on our plane and flew to Toronto. So we flew right out of our own airport here in London, which is considered an international airport, and yet they don't have a direct flight to Toronto or to New York. They used to, and then they got rid of it. Makes life harder. But so we got to Toronto, and then we had like a 3.5 hour layover, which really was necessary, because by the time you get through, we just had carry-on luggage. So that wasn't a big deal. But by the time you get through everything, and then you have to go, then you fly into New York. So you have to go through security and all that stuff. It took some time. And we ended up having an hour and a half to sit in it. So we did that. We just found our terminal, and we joked because every time we had to go catch, not our terminal, our gate. Found our gate. We had to go to our gate. They were always at the furthest end of a terminal. Like, really? On the way back, we were from Toronto to London. We were B1A, or B1A. And we're like, oh my god, we're at the beginning. This is so awesome. We get on there and it starts at B25. We were literally the very, very, very last gate. And Christine says, I think they're making us walk home because it felt like we'd been walking forever. So anyway, we get there, we get a drink, we knit, we finally get to New York, go through customs, I don't know what you call it, in the security again, all that kind of stuff. And I had to declare some nuts and seeds, or some fruit that I brought, which was just chopped up veggies. And it's scary. I'm so scared going through like that kind of thing, because they put a big X on my form, and so Christine went this way and I had to go this way because I had to be like ultra interrogated. He was very nice. I wasn't really interrogated. He just said, what do you have to declare? And I said, like, chopped up red peppers and carrots from my flight. He's like, go ahead. And then so we got a bus, not like a city bus, but a, what's it called? I don't know. Like a chartered bus kind of thing that we paid for, to take us into Manhattan. So we went to Midtown and got off, went to the Port Authority, dropped off our luggage to store it there so we could wander around. Whew, we wandered around, figured out the subway, went down to Pearl Soho, put in some pictures. Pearl Soho, which was so great and fun, and got a few things there maybe you'd like to see. It was so much fun. And I took a picture and posted it on Instagram. It's like, look where I was today. Everyone's like, what? So lucky. And we were taking pictures outside of Pearl Soho of us just kind of standing there like this. And they were inside giggling at us, I think, because we just look silly. And I'm sure they see that all the time. But anyway, so that's not it. It was such a cute little shop. And what I loved about it is that I think they had these tables, just these little round tables full of samples and swatches. And somebody else was looking something up, or looking for something specific in a kind of yarn, and she showed them, one of the girls worked there, she showed them the yarn, and she said, well, this is one skein knit up into a square. I thought that was really, really smart to like just have, so you'd know how much it would knit. So if you're making a sweater, obviously if it's this big of a swatch, you're gonna need a heck of a lot more. So it was just really, really cool to see this table full of swatch squares of all the different bases they had in stock. I loved that. Anyway, after looking and looking and looking, and like, I mean, you could have bought so much, and I didn't want to spend a fortune because I knew we still had Rhinebeck, but I bought this beautiful skein of mulberry merino. So it's Pearl Soho's own mulberry merino, and it is in the peach stone colorway. My husband just came out, smiling at him. I can't see this. Where does it say peach stone? Oh yeah, peach stone. 247 yards, 100 grams. It's a DK. Oh, this color's so nice. It's so soft. And the funny thing is, my friend Lena from Sweden, she had sent me a skein of this exact yarn, this base, in a beautiful blue that I showed a while ago. And they go so nice together, so I could do a colorwork project if I wanted to, although I had just bought this for a hat, but we'll see. It's a little felty because it was going in and out of my suitcase and moving all over the place, and so it already looks like it's been worn. That's okay, because it's going to get worn and it won't matter in, like, you know, after you wear the hat for a bit, it won't matter. But I just loved that neutrally color. That was a Pearl Soho find, and then another Pearl Soho find. This is what I really wanted when I went, but I was trying to suppose, justify it. Not that I need to. But, you know, everyone has fringe supply bags. And I didn't feel like I needed one because I have my beautiful emerald fiber bag, which has my beautiful hip cat on it. And it's so similar, right? It doesn't have a leather strap. It's got like a beautiful cotton strap. But in other ways, it's just the same kind of size. It's not wax, it's just canvas. It's beautiful, and I love it so much. So I didn't feel the need to have one of their bags like that. But what I really wanted was a porter bin. It's a belt one. It's huge. It's so nice. And currently in it, I have I'm just counting. Okay, like 13 skeins of yarn, and there's still room. Like, it's not packed. They're not tightly packed. There's some things down here on the bottom too that you can't see that aren't yarn that are in there. So it holds a lot, and I really just wanted this for my coffee table to keep like bigger projects in, or to keep, you know, if you're working on a sweater and you, so what happened was I was working on my Tecumseh and I couldn't find the spare yarn that I had. So this is the last one I have for the body, although I never used it, I guess. I'm realizing now that I'll need this if I do the arms, but I'm not going to, so I don't need it. But that kind of thing. So if you're doing a sweater and you have 8 balls of yarn or whatever, you have them all in one spot, you don't misplace them. And maybe you don't do that, but I do. So now they're all in one spot, and I loved it. So it was a bit of a splurge, but I didn't care. The color was kind of everything, and it's so heavy duty and sturdy. And inside there are pockets. There are spots, it's kind of hard to see. There are spots here for needles. You can slip needles in. There's a bigger one here for other kinds of notions. And on the other side, there's a long one across the back that you can maybe, if you've got like a folded pattern, you could put it in there, or any other kinds of little things. There isn't a carrying strap or anything because it's not meant to be carried. It's just meant to sit. But it's so well made and so heavy duty. This is really a heavy duty canvas. So that's my porter bin, and I love it. So that's what I knew I wanted to get when I went to Pearl Soho. Everything else was like, well, whatever. I wasn't gonna buy yarn. But I thought one skein of yarn in their own base, or like their own yarn, would be great. Because really, yarn there is not cheaper. So if you're Canadian and you're like excited to go to Rhinebeck or the States for yarn, it's not cheaper. We were really surprised by the fact that all the yarn was the same price as you'd find it here, but in US dollars. So you're spending, you know, the exchange rate right now is about 30%. The taxes are less there, so there's that. So maybe even 20% more, but at the same price, right? So this is $24 US for DK. So, I mean, I charge 20, what do I charge for mine? 28, I think. So yeah, you're not saving anything. So I did want a souvenir, which I got, but I didn't need to buy all the yarn. And I mean, some people don't care. But I knew we were going to Rhinebeck. I knew that was going to be an expensive day, so I didn't need all the yarn from Pearl Soho. It was really just the experience of going in, and it's such a beautiful little store. So pretty and very well decorated and curated, and it's just nice to be part of. It was just nice to be there. So that was really fun. And then from there, we ended up walking up to 42nd Street, which is a really long haul. It's about an hour walk. And it wasn't, I don't know, it's funny. It's because I walk all the time, and I think it's like the city walking that was hard. And we were walking at quite a pace, and in shoes that aren't walking shoes. And I ended up getting blisters on the bottom of my foot. So by the time we got back to our B&B, I was in a lot of pain. And I said to my friend, I'm like, I don't know how I'm gonna walk around tomorrow because I'm in so much pain right now. Anyway, we thought we'd get a good night's sleep and be able to go about our day the next day, but we didn't sleep very well. And that's a really long story. I won't bore you with it, but we ended up checking into a hotel instead of the B&B. We had an extra night in the B&B and we just said forget it, and we cut our losses and checked into a hotel because we were exhausted and we needed a good night's sleep, which we got. A cute little boutique hotel in Queens, and it was really, really nice. And so then that day, the Thursday, we went right down to Lower Manhattan, and we took the Staten Island ferry across and got nice and up close to the Statue of Liberty. Fairly up close. I mean, we didn't go to the Statue of Liberty, but the ferry is free. So if you've never been and you're looking to visit, the Staten Island ferry is free. It takes you right across the water to Staten Island, and then you basically get off and you kind of run around to the other side to get on the ferry that's going back. And it ends up being an hour trip there and back. And so you get to, goes right by the Statue of Liberty, kind of like close. You get some pictures. Lots of things that are different, right? Like I wasn't expecting to be ferried across the island, across the water by the U.S. Coast Guard, but we were. And they have like an automatic rifle gun thing mounted to the front of their boat, which again for us is just weird to see. And then we got back, and I don't even know what we did then. Oh, yeah, I do. Before we actually went to Staten Island, we had gone to Times Square to try and see a show. And we kind of humming and hawing, what show do we see, what show do we see? And I said, we just have to decide. And of course, you know, I'm a big musical theater fan. So it didn't really matter what we saw. It would have been great. But Samantha Barks, who played Eponine in the movie and the West End production of Les Miserables, was starring in Pretty Woman as Vivian. And so we went to get rush seats, and I thought, well, we'll just see what they have. And I said, do you have any rush seats for tonight's show? And if not, when do they go on sale? Blah, blah, blah. And she said, let me check. She checked and she said, I have one pair, of a pair for $42 each. And the show starts at $100. Of course, so we'll take them. So we went and saw Pretty Woman, and it was really cute. I mean, it was not nitty gritty, like sink your teeth into it, deep, life-changing theater at all. But if you've seen the movie and you liked it and you enjoyed it, it was that, except for with music. Almost verbatim was the dialogue and the jokes. Everything was very, very familiar. But Samantha Barks was amazing, and the whole cast was great, actually. And we got 4th row seats, so we were like, what? This is really, really good. And we had a great time. All the music and lyrics were done by Bryan Adams, who is, most people know who Bryan Adams is, but he's Canadian, so that was kind of a fun little Canadian connection. And it was a great time. So that was really good. And then we went back to our hotel the next day and had a great night's sleep. And the next morning got up, had breakfast, went to Penn Station to catch our train up to Rhinebeck. The trains are a little uncivilized, I thought. But then maybe that's just because I'm not used to non-designated seating. So you have a seat reserved, but it's not designated. So we're all plowing through the train with our suitcases trying to find a spot to sit. Like, it was crazy. Why could you not just say, you're in this seat and this seat, and then you'd know where to go? But that's not how they do it. So we had to try and find a spot. So of course we didn't sit together. But that's okay. I met some really cool people going up there on the way up. I sat next to some guy who just chatted my ear off, and he was very, very interesting. And on the way back, I sat next to an amazing woman, a black woman from Brooklyn, and she was telling me her life story. And she was born in Aruba, and she came over, and she's these stories, and she's just telling me all this stuff. And I thought, you know what? She knew a lot of things. I said, you're incredibly smart. And we chatted, and I said, tell me about your education, because you could just tell this woman knew things. And she said, oh, well, nothing. I did this. I got my undergrad, my master's, this, that, the other thing. And then I worked in international law in the financial district on Wall Street for 25 years. I'm like, oh, there it is. Because you know everything. She was so fascinating. We talked about everything, from politics to social issues, and she just enlightened me in amazing ways. It was very, very cool. So, I mean, I didn't get to sit next to my friend, but I got to meet some very cool people. So we get to Rhinebeck, we call our car company comes, picks us up, we go to Kingston, we get our car. Oh my gosh, it's just so beautiful. Like that part of New York is just so beautiful. So we drove back and we checked into our B&B, which was unbelievable. I'll put in a picture. Where we stayed was at the top. It was in the country of Rhinebeck. So it wasn't right in the city or the town, but it was just out in the countryside. And she was at the top of this private road, way up the top. Nobody would have even thought to go up there unless you knew she lived there. Her family owned the whole street. Like all the houses were, her mom and dad lived right here, and her sister lived over here, and like other family lived, like they all owned the street. I think they owned 400 acres in that area. And then at one point the dad gave all the kids 10 acres, and anyway, it's very cool. So you'll see the picture of where we stayed, and it looked over the her patio looked over the Catskill Mountains, and all this acreage that she had was just the fall leaves changing. And she set us up out there with our tea and a blanket, and she said, no, you guys just sit out here and knit and admire the view. And I'm like, oh my god, this is when you see like knitting retreats happening on Instagram or on people's podcasts, and they're all cozied up in that kind of a space. This is what it was like. It was just amazing. So that was very cool. So that was Friday night, I think. I think if we went out Friday night, because I can't remember. Oh, we did. Of course we did. We ended up going to meet my friend Connie, who's Chili Knits, for dinner. So her and her husband Danny came from Chile to Rhinebeck, and we met up for dinner Friday night, which was amazing because, you know, Connie and I met last year in August as FiberShare friends. And before we'd even Skype, because we would Skype like 3 times a week for a while, just in the very beginning we were emailing back and forth, we're like, oh my god, we're like soulmates. Everything is amazing. So to be talking for so long and chatting, video chatting for so long, and just to be able to hold each other. We literally sat at dinner the whole time and we were like this. I'll put a picture in the whole time. Oh my god, it was so much fun. So we had a great visit, and it wasn't long enough, and we saw each other a little bit on the Saturday, but again, just not enough time. But still very much a highlight, and it was so nice. And then we came back to our room and slept and got up really early Saturday morning to go to Rhinebeck. You're waiting in line, and oh my goodness, there was lots of different entrances around the Dutchess County Fairgrounds. I think there was 4 different entrances. So we kind of went in the backside, and there's people with all their sweaters, and people are walking by and you're like, I love your sweater, and I love your sweater. Met some great, so we got in, and the first person we saw when we got in, it was just 9 o'clock when it opened, so it wasn't packed yet. People were just kind of going about doing their thing, and we were kind of walking just this way and along from this side, kind of right 3 feet in front of us was Nathan, the sockmatician. And I was like, and Christine's like, it's Nathan. I was like, wow. So she had the nerve, because I don't ever have the nerve to say anything. She said, hey Nathan, and he turned around and he's like, hello. And of course we didn't get a picture because that's not really our style, but it was so lovely to stand there for 5 minutes and just chat to him about his podcast and how much we think he's amazing. He was so generous with his time and very, very kind and sweet. So that was another highlight. Super fun. And then we just kind of wandered around. It's kind of a bit of a blur because it was just so overwhelming. So we wandered around, we bought a few things, and then at 1 o'clock we went to the podcaster meetup. I was trying to find my friend Joy, who is the Anxious Knitter, and I knew she was there, but we hadn't seen each other yet. And I thought, well, she'll definitely be at the podcaster meetup. And I couldn't find her. Found Connie, we chatted some more and stuff, and then and all of a sudden from across the hill I hear, Debbie! She's running at me, and we finally got a picture, because the last bunch of times that we've met up we have kept forgetting. So we dropped everything, got a picture, which she still has and I don't have yet. So Joy, you need to send me that picture. And that was super fun. So we just hung, and then for the rest of the day, her and I and her husband Luke and Christine, we all walked around together and did the show together after that. But we also, who else did we meet? The Fat Squirrel, Amy Beth, who is exactly the same in person as she is in her podcast. And hers is a podcast that I will watch as soon as it comes through, because it's just so fun. So we met her, And we met the gentle knitter, Nicole, who, again, is another podcast I will watch instantly. Both those two ladies, I find, well, without getting into too much detail, I just find that they are a bright spot in the podcasting world. Their authenticity and their light that they shine is felt very strongly by me. And so I was so happy to meet them both. And I kind of wish in retrospect that I would have gotten some photographs with them just so I could say, look who I met. But really that's like an ego thing, right? I didn't need them. The experience was enough. It was really nice to have a chat with Nicole for as long as we did. And then we met Caroline, who is Dunderknit on Instagram. I think she's, I can't remember if it's Vicariously Knitting or it's Knitting Vicariously, I think, her new podcast. So she only has 4 episodes. She is hysterical. So if you haven't heard of her, please go watch her right now. She's so funny. So we got to meet her, which was lovely, and we did get pictures with her. And I've made a list of all the other people here that I met. So my friend Morgan, who is Shop Knitting Nelly on Instagram, I got to meet her after a year and a bit of us being Instagram friends and following each other back and forth. So she found me and we had a hug and a picture and a nice chat. And Rachel, who is 6 and 7 Fiber, I got to meet her. Again, we follow each other and we both had Tecumseh's on, so we were talking before we realized who each other was. And then she told me who she was and I told her who I was. She's like, oh, we follow each other. So that was kind of funny because you don't always see everyone's face, right, when you follow them. So unless they have a podcast or something. So that was really fun. And I'm trying to think of who else is here. I met up with some friends, Yarn Enabler and Feisty Fibers, who Amanda and Karen, they were there. And we knew they were there, so we saw them a couple of times and got some pictures with them and just chatted. And I met Patricia, who is Paradise Island. She was staying actually with Connie. They were sharing a house, and so we got to meet her. She does beautiful bags. And Trey Liz Colorist Power, who I have been following and who has been following me for the last 5 or 6 years on my other account, which is private now, but it never used to be. I think we both started dying in and around the same time. I think I was a little bit before her. And yeah, we'd follow each other, and I didn't know she was doing a trunk show at the Knitting Garage in Rhinebeck, and I happened to walk in there and she was there, and I was like, oh, putting all this together. Anyway, that was super exciting. So we got to have a nice chat and a visit, and then I didn't meet but ran into Espace Tricot from Montreal, who is Melissa and Lisa. And it's funny because before we went, there was this big conversation on that Clara Parks had done a Instagram post about commenting on other people's threads, people who you perceive to be like important people, and whether or not how you do that. Like some people are okay with commenting wherever, and others aren't so okay. And for me, it makes me feel like I'm trying too hard, or that I'm desperate to like be constantly commenting on people's posts. And Claire Parks was saying the same kind of thing. And Melissa posted and said how she had seen Claire Parks last year and was too afraid to say hi, but she wouldn't this year. She'd make sure she said hi this year. And I was like so excited that they were going. And she said, yes, Debbie, come say hi. You know, it'd be lovely to meet you in person, because we follow each other. And then as Christine and I are walking in the Knitting Garage, they were walking out. And it was just a blur, and I recognized Lisa, and then there was somebody else who I assume was their friend, whose name I somehow forget. Francoise, I think. Anyway, and then Melissa. And we were opening the doors, they were coming out, and we were like, oh, sorry, and they're like, sorry, which is so Canadian, right? And they just walked by us, and Christine turned around, and she said, was this Patrick? I'm like, I know, and I don't have the nerve to say hi, even though Melissa said, say hi. So afterwards, I told her we saw her, and she's like, that would have been such a perfect place to have a little chat, and I blew it, but that's okay. We're going to try and make a field trip to Montreal to see them. But it just, like, there was everybody that you wanted to meet was there, and there were tons of people there that I didn't get to see. Didn't get to see Christy Glass Knits. Didn't get to see, there were people that I did see too that I know from different podcasts that I have seen, but I don't necessarily follow. But I saw lots of people, and it was just to be a part of something. Knowing that everybody is in one spot for one reason was so much fun. And we stood in line to get apple cider donuts. The line was an hour long. It was crazy. But the donuts were worth it. They were warm and melting in your mouth, and they were so good. And I brought some home for Fred and Isaac. And my friend kept saying, Christine kept saying, just get rid of those. I'm like, no, they'll love them. They'll love them. And they did. So they were really happy. And we met some lovely ladies in line, Mary and Debbie, who were behind us. And we just chatted the whole time and exchanged information. And it was just really, really nice to kind of connect with like-minded people while you're waiting for your donuts. You're all there for the same reason. And it was just kind of felt like a homecoming in a way, to just be a part of something that is clearly bigger than you, but that involves something that everybody loves, just fiber. And oh, it was so good. Anyway, let me show you what I got, because I could ramble about that all day long. I'll be quick. Okay, so first up, are these beautiful skeins from Hudson Valley Fibers. Again, forgive the wrinkliness of their labels, and if they look a little bit disheveled, they were in my suitcase and got a little bit felty. Not super felty, just a little bit. I got these 3 beautiful skeins of a sport weight. It is a 50% alpaca, 50% Corriedale. Oh, I just really wanted something. So I told you before, what my point was to look for local, rustic, New York kind of race and bred. And this is, oh, I didn't realize there was a color on this, Mineral Springs. So right from the Hudson Valley, right? It doesn't actually say anything more than that. Oh, sourced and milled in New York State. So yeah, you can't get a heck of a lot more local than that. And it's just this beautiful shade of like a browny gray. Really, really pretty. So I think I've got 3 skeins of that for a shawl, I think. We'll see. Not enough for anything else, but I was really trying to be conservative with my spending, so I could have got a 4th or a 5th and made a sweater. But I figured a shawl would be great. A nice big long that you can really wrap around and be warm. That's kind of what I was looking for. So I got that. And then I don't know where the rest of them went. I had 5 of these. So there's 4 here. One's already caked up in a ball. Again, that's coming across kind of raspberry-ish. It's a deep, beautiful bluey red. Like more like that. Like, yeah. And there's little flecks of blue. So nice. And so this is my weekender sweater, which I think is just going to be so great. That color, it's very rustic, but I'm so happy with this. I almost wish I would have got a 6. I feel like, oh, I hope I don't need a 6th, especially now that I'm going down half a needle size, but I think it'll be all right. It's so pretty. So I got that, and and then I got this. Oh, that's really blowing out. It's oval. Oh, I didn't tell you, this colorway is called Serenade, and it's their 2-ply in their new colors. 100% wool. Oh my god, it's just so nice. So when we went to Owl, and I might even do this in the order that we got it. I should have, but I can't remember. This is River Oat, 50% certified organic merino, 50% alpaca. Apparently I had an alpaca thing. Yeah, that seemed to be a bit of a trend. Anyway, it's really, really nice. And it is I think it's a DK as well. Yeah. Sorry, zoomed out. Oh, they had a sample knit up in this color, and the sample just made me need to have this color. I mean, I love this color, as you know. really like any kind of thing with undertones of yellowy, mustardy. And it is more like that. Like, it's not quite that yellow. It's a bit more darker. And it's marled. It's a bit marled. So it's like, yeah, like a gray going through with that color. Oh, it's so pretty. So that, I think, is going to be a hat too. But maybe a cowl. We'll see. It'd be perfect for a cowl, actually, because it goes with my coat. And this is really special. Now, it's kind of standing up by itself because it really is felted a bit. The people we stayed with, all the wool on my neck is making me itchy. The people we stayed with in Rhinebeck, her name was Eileen. She was amazing. She was the hostess with the mostest, like, beyond. She went beyond, above and beyond. She was just incredible. So when we were booking with her, she had said to me, just so you know, I often have a party the weekend of New York Sheep and Wool, because she's got some friends who are farmers and they always vend, and they often come over for dinner. And she's like, as long as you don't mind kind of sharing the place with them a little bit, like, you're welcome to stay. And I told Christine, she's like, well, they sound like our kind of people. I was like, yeah, they do. And oh my God, they really were. So we went, and they farm 20 sheep. Their sheep are Leicester long wools, which I'd never heard of. So this was a nice education for me. And so on the Saturday, we had dinner with them Friday night. Well, we had dinner with them Friday night, and then we went out for dinner with Connie afterwards. We had a late dinner with Connie. Our reservation wasn't until like 8:30. So we had to eat a little bit before that because we were hungry. But the restaurant was booked before that, so she kind of had to either make it at 4 o'clock or at 8:30 because she made the reservation. And we ate at Terrapin, if you're familiar. It's so good. So this is, we went and saw them at their booth on the Saturday, and this is their wool. And it is natural white lamb worsted, 100% Leicester long wool, 210 yards. And it's been, I moved around my suitcase so much that it was already starting to like felt together a little bit. It's kind of hard to see from there, but like, it's certainly not pulling apart the way it should. If it was like, they're sticking a little bit. But it's not so felted that you can't pull it apart. So I think what I'm going to do is just put it on my Swift, which is right here, and then just wind it onto my other Swift, which is right there, and just put it back into a skein really nicely. And wait till I find the right project. Originally, I had thought that I would make bed socks with this, but it felt so quickly that I'm afraid that might not be a good option. But I think it doesn't matter what I do with it. I think it's going to felt. So maybe bed socks. Maybe just make them extra big, because mitts will felt, a hat will felt, and so we'll have to just wait and see. So yes, this is really special. I get to meet the farmers and talk to them about their sheep. We got to meet their sheep, Merlin and Dayton, who were in the breed barn. We got to see them. It was just so nice. And so this needs to be something special, and I don't know what it will be, but oh yeah, see, like right here, this little chunk, how it's like all felted. So I have to really be careful to pull those apart, that I don't damage them. If they're coming apart, no problem. They're just a little bit, something to nestle into each other a little bit too much. So anyway, that was really great. And what else did we do? Went to the kind of book tent, book area, and got some great, oh my gosh, there's so much stuff here. The book tent, and got to meet the lovely Julie Weisenberger of Cocoa Knits. I'm afraid. I'll do that. I'll show you this. This is my program for New York Sheep and Wool. I thought I was organized, and I was, but I kind of just so excited I forgot to show you that. That was super cute. Okay, so I got this. I'm not a big knitting book buyer normally. You know, everything's on Ravelry, so I just tend to do that, to go there for my patterns, but this is really nice. The patterns are beautiful. And of course Julie was there, so you know, she signed it. Oh, you probably can't see that. Not even if I go really far back, it's like right here. That little black writing that you can see, that's her signature. But also this book, it's a great reference, and in reading it, it has all this information about kind of how to almost like deconstruct sweaters and then reconstruct them for yourself to fit you, which is great. So you, in reading this, you actually become a better knitter as well. Body types, it tells you how, if you're big chested, what kind of sweaters you should wear, what you should avoid, what kind of necklines you should wear, what you should avoid, where they should fall, where they shouldn't fall. Okay, if you're bottom heavy, same, like, you know what I mean, same kind of thing, which is really great. I'm just trying to find that one sweater that I like them all, but there was one particularly, like I really like this one called Emma. Oh, this is version C, I don't know what that means, but I don't know if you'll be able to see that. I don't know why. Sometimes that light wants to be super bright. If you get it close enough, maybe. There you go. Well, that's pretty much it. It's so pretty. And the one in the back is gorgeous. Love that. How it's lower at the back. And then there's one in the front that's very chunky. Anyway, I'm super excited to... Oh, there it is. It's a different one, I think. Different... same sweater, different photograph. That style is just beautiful. So, lots of really neat things in there. So I just couldn't really resist because I got to meet Julie and thought this is the kind of book that is a bit of a keeper that you have in your knitting library that you will refer to over and over again. So I got that. And I got this also from Coco Knits, which is fabulous. Those like rulers. Oh, there you go. And then you kind of flap them, they can go around. So it's like that. And you use it when you're sewing, and all your little pins and stuff stick to it. Don't have any handy, but like you can see, things just stick to it. So all your crochet hook or your embroidery needle or your stitch markers, anything that you might need while you're knitting or sewing, if you're a sewer, then all your pins, you just sit there and then you just have them handy. They're not falling down the side of the couch, which happens to me. So I thought that was a fabulous tool. And my friend Christina already has one and she loves it, so she encouraged me to get one. She didn't really encourage, she just inspired me to get one. I love that. It's a sweet little box. So I got that. And when I was at the Hudson Valley Fiber booth, I don't think it was called Hudson, I don't think that it wasn't called Hudson Valley Fiber booth. Somebody else was in the booth, but they were selling that yarn. And they had these gorgeous scissors. It's a sheep. Oh, so pretty. So yeah, those were, and actually these, they're from Canada. It's Kelmscott Designs. Is that right? Let me read that again. Yep, they're actually a Canadian company, right, is my understanding. But I love those. And of course, coming home, they pulled me over and went through my suitcase to find them. I'm like, yeah, they're sharp, but they're in my suitcase. I'm not taking them out. And they meet the requirements, because your requirement, I think, is 4 inches. So they were okay. They let me go. I said, they're just little. She's like, okay. I had 2 pairs of scissors. These and these, which are super dull, but they also meet the requirements. So she didn't steal either of my scissors. But if you bought scissors from Knit Picks, they're little purple handled steeking scissors. I had those confiscated in Dublin. They would not let me go on board with them. I got through Iceland, I got through Gatwick, and in Dublin they said no. I'm like, but they meet the requirements. But maybe not for Ireland, I don't know. I also have these scissors, but these ones, I didn't buy. They're just sitting here with all my scissors because I always lose them and I always need more scissors. Anyway, that's another story. So while I was there getting all this good stuff, we got to meet the girls from Pom Pom magazine. I forgot to put those on my list, on my people I met list. But that was really, really fun to meet them. They were so sweet. And so of course I had to get one of their pins, enamel pins. And they gifted us a little Pomcast badge. Which is just like a ball of yarn with headphones on. It says Pomcast. Okay, also got this. I'm a sucker for sheep. Oh my god, he's so cute. He will sit back here. You'll likely see him from now on. He'll just sit there. Makes me so happy. I'm almost done, people. I'm doing all right. A couple more things. So thrilled to have been able to make it to, yeah, that's it. Okay. To make it to the Matter Root booth. This was one of, so what we did was we made a list, because you really have to make a list. People go crazy, and so we went to Matter Root. This is the first booth we went to when we got there. Made a beeline because we knew it would be crazy. And it was crazy. We get in. Basically, the booths are 10 by 10. They're just tiny. You walk in. You can barely move because it's A, full of stock, and then full of people. Find what you want, and then you go back out and you get in line. So it feels like you're stealing. And I suppose people could have walked away with stuff because there was no one stopping them. But I don't know that anybody did. They just walked the end of a line, which went down like 4 booths down the way. So, you know, here's your booth, and here's cash at the back side of the booth, and then you walk in this way, and so you pick out your stuff, and then you go back out and down the way to line up to pay for it. You make your way back in. So I think there were probably some people butting because they didn't realize the line went all the way down, but that's fine. We just waited. And so I had a different bag in my hand at the time. And then I got there and I saw this one with bees, and you may know that we like bees here, but my name also means bee, so it was perfect that I had one of these left when I got close up. I loved it. So well made, so beautiful, and these neat little, although I didn't think I realized that there were pouches inside, like not pouches but pockets, but it's a nice pocket inside too. And there was a smaller one, which is great for socks, but given that I don't knit a lot of socks, I wanted something a bit bigger. So this is our medium size, and you've got these great little I don't know what I'm trying to say. It's like not coming out of my mouth. Toggle or buckle. Okay, so I'm saying boggle in my head, and I'm like, that's not what I want to say, because I'm trying to say toggle and buckle at the same time. Anyway, super cute. It's just so pretty. Nice to have something of theirs. And then I bought one of their Rhinebeck 2018 enamel pins. It just says Rhinebeck 2018 on it, and it's a ball of yarn. Reminds me a little bit of my ball of yarn logo. It's cute. So I got that. And then lastly, oh, 2 lastlies. After we left Rhinebeck, we didn't go back on the Sunday because we were really, really tired. We were walking basically from 8:30 or 8 o'clock that morning, 8:30 till 5 o'clock. Never sat down once. Just walked and walked and walked. And we were tired, and I thought, you know what? I don't need to spend any more money. And if we go back, we will. So we didn't feel the need to go back the second day, although we didn't see everything. So if you're going for the 2 days, it's great because you'll probably need the 2 days if you want to see everything. There's a few things we didn't get to see. That's okay. But so on the Sunday we wanted to go through, okay, let me back up. And I think we would have stayed longer had we have been able to get a later train on the Sunday back to Manhattan. But by the time that we booked our train, the evening, later afternoon trains were mostly full. So we caught our train at 1:50, and that meant that we didn't have a lot of time to go back to Rhinebeck or to Sheep and Wool that day, because we needed to return our car to Kingston, get an Uber back. You know, you just don't know how long all that's going to take. So anyway, we gave ourselves lots of time, and it was great. We walked around Rhinebeck instead, the village, and got to take a look at some of the shops. And we went to the Knitting Garage, which is the yarn shop in Rhinebeck. How stinking cute are those? Just little hot pads, pot holders, cactus, and llamas. They are so cute. I love them so much. So that was a splurge. These were made, I was told, handcrafted pot holders, double lined, Pig and Company. They were made by the mother of the owner of Knitting Garage. So it kind of just felt right to have them. I needed new ones, so it was so perfect when I saw them. And then, like I said earlier, Liz from Trey Liz was there doing a trunk show, and I had no idea. So I grabbed a skein of yarn from her, because why the heck not? She's from Greece. When am I ever going to get her yarn, really? I thought it would be a nice treat, given that I wasn't going to buy any indie dyed yarn because I don't need it. But that was just a nice treat. I had brought yarn to gift everybody, so I had given her a little 25-gram mini, and then I bought this from her. And I was super happy with it. It's called, I should tell you about it. Colorways H2O, 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. Yeah, really nice. I think that's everything. Oh my goodness, this is so long. I'm so sorry. Yeah, so it was a lot of fun. And then we left Rhinebeck, got back into Manhattan, got to our Airbnb and just spent the night in, ordered a pizza, and just knit and packed up our luggage for the next day because we had to leave in the morning to go to the airport to come home. And we knew we wouldn't have time to go back, and we were going to try and see another show, but we knew we wouldn't really have time to see another show. So we didn't. We came home, got to the airport about 8 o'clock, went through security, did all that jazz, and at the end of the day really didn't have a lot of time to sit and knit, not too much, about an hour and a half, sat there, and then you know, then you're on the train from New York to Toronto, and then Toronto to London. It's like literally a 20-minute flight, but by going up and coming down takes some time. So all in, it was about 50 minutes from Toronto to London. And then Fred and Isaac picked us up. We took Christine home. We took Isaac to rehearsal. We had to go vote because it was election day here in Ontario. So I had to go vote as soon as I got off the plane. And came home and just slept like a rock that night. I went to bed so early. And Isaac and Fred were going to watch something, and I said, I won't hear you. I'm tired. I don't even remember my head hitting the pillow. I was just asleep. It was the nicest thing ever. Oh, just forgot something I got in Rhinebeck that I didn't show you. I got some soap from Sock Hill Farm. This one is lemongrass. It smells incredible. This one is lavender with lemongrass and cedarwood, also incredible. And this one is grapefruit with fennel, no, with rosemary. One of them had, oh, the lemongrass has spearmint and fern needle. Oh my god, they're just hand soaps, body soaps, but they're so nice. Oh yes, I brought those home too. And then when we got home, the next day I had something waiting for me, like it delivered in the mail. So before I left, I had ordered West Yorkshire Spinners' new Christmas colorway, Fairy Lights. Pattern is so cute. So I ordered Fairy Lights, and for the contrast, I ordered Bubblegum. A lot of people are ordering. In here it says chocolate lime or cayenne pepper, which are the green and the red colorways in the Fairy Lights, but they also have this blue bubblegum in the sock. I don't know if you can see, yeah, you can see that. So I ordered that. for my toes and cuffs. And this is 200 grams. And you know what? What a great deal, because this cost me the equivalent of like about a skein of yarn here, an indie dyed skein of yarn. It was about $36 all in shipping and everything. I have 200 grams and I maybe use 60 grams for a sock. So I think I can make 3 pairs of socks. I'm gonna make one with fairy lights and bubblegum as toes and cuffs. I'm gonna make one with toes with bubblegum as the main sock and fairy lights as toes. I'm saying toes and cuffs and I mean toes and heels. And I'm gonna do one striped. Probably for Isaac, he'll like that. That's so we'll each get a pair of socks. Not by Christmas, but at some point. So that was another acquisition. Oh, I'm tired now, people. It's like I've been an hour and a half. I'm so sorry. But it was a lot of fun. Comes with a free pattern too. So you could go on there and order that now. Can't see anything. But it's there. So if you've not been to Rhinebeck and you are itching to go, you should go. It is just so much fun. The camaraderie and the community and the feeling of belonging somewhere and just all the fiber. Like it's, I almost bought a sheepskin. They were 160 US, the place I was looking at. And I'm not so sure how bringing those across the border would go. But if I thought it would have been okay, I would have bought one. I think I'll just have to look for one locally, because I really want one. They're so nice. Yeah, and it was just so nice to meet so many people that you admire from afar and that you never get to talk to. I feel really lucky that I was able to go. And I don't know that it's something I need to do every single year. I think if we go again, we won't fly, because that, of course, doubled the cost of our trip. And we won't stay in New York next time. I mean, it was amazing. Christine had never been, so it was worth doing. But you don't have to do it every time you go. Next time, I think we'll drive, and we'll just go for, like, maybe, like, drive up Thursday and have Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and come back Monday. Or something like that. And maybe share the driving with friends and get a house with friends. That would be nice. But I've done it, and it was so much fun. A great experience. And I'm still recovering. I'm really tired, and I've been sleeping at 9 o'clock every night, which is so not me. I'm usually up till midnight. But it was great. So if you were there and came up and said hi to me, because a lot of you did, I feel so lucky that so many people came up and said hello. So they watched the podcast and stopped me in some lines and said, I love your podcast. It was so unexpected, but so lovely. So thank you to you. And I think I'm going to say goodbye, because I've been just chatting forever and I feel a little bit overwhelmed. So thank you. Thank you for watching all, if you've come this far. Watching my Rhinebeck recap and my haul. And if you have any questions, just leave them down below and I'll answer them. In the meantime, thank you for being here. And don't forget to enter your projects, your sweaters in the 4th quarter cal. The threads on Ravelry, you can look that up. And I'm going to say goodbye. Come find me on Instagram. You can find me at The Loving Path Yarn. And say hello, and we'll talk soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.